Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Natasha if it is your first time here, and in today's video I am going to be reviewing the Jackie Aina Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palette. I just got this in the mail. The shipping was amazing. I ordered this directly from the Anastasia website and I got it in like 2 days. I didn't even have to pay for like expedited shipping or anything. I literally ordered this like 3 days ago and I got it yesterday, so dope. This outer component to the box is so awesome. It's like a snake skin and it has like the really cool holographic look on it. Even on the back here, you can see how it's just like picking up the colors. See what it says. It says, created in collaboration with beauty icon Jackie Aina, this limited edition palette features Jackie's favorite silky neutrals, vibrant warms, tantalizing cool tones, and the finishes are a perfect mix of both matte and elevating shimmering textures. Cute. That sounds like something that Jackie would write or say. I have used Anastasia palettes in the past. I actually haven't picked up a palette since Modern Renaissance. This is the last Anastasia palette that I bought. You can see that it is very well loved. And it has this kind of like velvety texture on it. I was pretty happy when I opened this Jackie Aina one. Here, let me just slide it out here for you. And it doesn't have that same kind of like velvet on there, just because like I think it feels cool and I think it looks nice, but it gets so dirty so fast. All creams and all powders just like stick onto the kind of like velvety material, and it kind of makes it look a little grungy, a little dirty. When something like this where it's smoother, you can like kind of wipe this off and keep this looking nice. So let's just kind of like look at it, because it's beautiful. It has right here just her little signature. I believe that she said in her video that Dennis, her fiance, designed that. And that just has the snake print with the hollow. Same here on the back. Really cool. Let's open her up. I have opened it already and looked at it. I haven't swatched anything. I haven't touched anything. You know I'm not really like a swatch girl. Swatches just don't really do it for me. It doesn't show me how they're going to perform necessarily. And there is a brush in here, but it kind of like fell out, so let's see. Oh yeah, so pretty. The reason why I was attracted to buy this palette and not some of the other Anastasia palettes in the past was, well, I love Jackie. I love watching her videos. I love seeing her on Instagram and Twitter. I think she's a great person to follow. And I don't know, the colors here really spoke to me. Mainly what it was this color right here in Sponsored. It's so pretty. It's kind of like a emeraldy brown. It like shifts a little purpley. It's so pretty. And then of course this color up here in Supreme, that hot pink. So what I think I'm gonna do, because there is so many different colors in this palette that I'm interested in using, I think I'm just gonna do one eye one look, one eye another look, and call it good. I don't mind wearing two completely different eyeshadow looks as long as they're the same shape. So that's what I think I'm gonna do. I think probably on one eye, I'm going to focus more on like the pinks in the palette, like Supreme and what's that shade? Pinker. And then I'll maybe hit into this color Zam right here. It's like a really pretty rose gold. And then for the other side, I'll probably go in more with these like browns and warm tones, because I'm definitely going to hit up Sponsored all over my lid. Like I have to. It's been just like calling my name here. I'm not usually a huge purple fan. Like I don't love wearing a lot of purples. I find with my skin tone and kind of the undertones in my skin that purples make me look a little dead. They kind of make me look a little sick and tired. But that's fine, because really there's only 2, maybe 3 purples in this whole palette. So I'm not really concerned with that. I already did my brows and I primed my eyes just using a little bit of concealer that I used to cut out my brows. So I'm going to go right into this because I'm so excited. I just can't even stop. Like I don't even want to throw this box away because look how pretty it is. Just. Alright, I'm going to start off by going into this Supreme shade and just kind of putting it all over my crease. It is kind of almost like, I wouldn't say neon, but it's definitely like a hot candy pink. And the thing with Anastasia shadows I have found is that they are pretty powdery, but they usually have the pigment to back it up. So just go right in with that Supreme shade, and I'm going to start just building up my crease. pretty pigmented just right off the bat, but it is blending really nice. I've never had an issue with like the quality of Anastasia shadows. I know that like in the past there was with some of the palettes some quality issues when it came to blending. I never tried out those palettes personally, so I didn't have those issues. With the Modern Renaissance palette, I never had any issues with blending or the quality. It is a little bit more powdery, I would say that, but other than that, I think the shadows perform great. So I have pretty high hopes for this palette. It's mainly just I'm wanting to play around with the colors. So the more I build this up, the more neon it is looking. I think in the pan it kind of looks a little less neon, almost a little bit more muted, but once it gets onto my lid, it's pulling really nicely. I know that Jackie did say in her video that when she came up with this palette and she was kind of curating the colors, that she wanted to make a palette that was more wearable for those that had darker skin tones, because usually in palettes there is a few shades that people with darker skin tones can't really utilize as much. So this palette was designed in mind for more of darker skin tones, but I think that even for someone like me who is pretty pale, I wouldn't have any issue using any of these shadows. So I think it's pretty universal. This pink shade right here just blended out so easy and so fast for like a hot pink color. I feel like I've really had to do just like minimal and it's already blended out really nicely. I'm not going to do anything super technical with my look today, probably just a quick blended out crease, shimmer on the lid type look on both sides. I just wanted to try to use as many colors in this palette as I could. I am loving this shade in Supreme. I love a good pink eyeshadow. Okay, so that's just with the color Supreme, just kind of blended out all over my crease, blown out a little bit. I think now I'm going to go in and darken it, deepen it up a little bit. I'm going to use just a smaller brush here. This is the Morphe M456, and I'm going to go in with the shade Pinker right here, which is kind of like a dark, almost magenta-y pink, and it has a slight shimmer in there. I could see it. And I'm just gonna start building it up and adding a little bit more depth. I would say this shade has a little bit more purple in it. So this shade Pinker in the pan, it does have some sparkle into it, but when I'm blending it out, I'm not really seeing a lot of that sparkle, that shimmer showing up. So if you're worried about using like a matte shade that has a little bit of shimmer in it, I wouldn't be too concerned about this one because the shimmer isn't really like picking up very well. Alright, so I think now I'm just going to go straight in with the shimmer and put that on my lid. I'm going to grab this shade right here in the name Zam. It's like a glittery rose gold shade. And just go right on the lid. So I just took my finger and just kind of put it all over the lid, and now I'm going to blend it out with a brush. I'm just going to go in with this little brush that I was using with the shade Pinker and just slowly start blending out the edges. So this shade already does have quite a bit of fallout under my eyes and on my cheeks. I think because it is a little bit full of glitter, there's probably, you know, nothing really you can do about that. Fallout doesn't bother me too much, which is why I typically do my eyes first. Then I'm just going to go in and add a little bit more of that pinker shade. So there is glitter and sparkles just completely covering the side of my face right now. Let me zoom you in and I'll show you. So I don't know if the camera is going to be picking up on it, but you can kind of see there is just glitter everywhere under my eye right now. It's like on the side of my nose, all over my cheek. But I think it's pretty. So I'm going to move on to the other eye now. I think I'm going to start right here with the shade Ginger. It's like this warm, almost terracotta-y, a little bit orangey brown. And I'm going to start just blending that right in my crease. So this shade is skipping just slightly. I don't know if that's because my eye is a little bit hooded, so it's just kind of pulling on my skin. Let me just keep blending it and see how it goes. I will say that this shade looks a little bit more orange in the pan, but it's showing up slightly like chocolatier on my eye. So blended out really nice. I think the skipping was just because of my eyelid. I don't think it had anything to do with the shadow. Just blending just the same as the other shades. So I'm going to take a smaller brush again here, and I'm going to go in. I'm going to go in with this shade in Edges. It's like a dark burnt orange, and I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side and just kind of use that to add more depth. Just darken it up a little bit. Okay, so that is just the shade Edges with the shade Ginger. And I think those blended out really nice, kind of like a nice cocoa-y orange color together. They blended in just seamlessly together. Cute. So now I'm going to go in. The shade I've been most excited to use in this whole palette is this one right here in Sponsored. So I'm going to go ahead and just get my finger in there. So right away, initially, it is a completely different texture than this shade up here in Zam. I think this shade is almost more of like a glitter chunky shade, and this shade in Sponsored right here, oof, you could just see how beautiful that is. It's like green, silvery, just, this is like, if I could create an eyeshadow, I would create something that looked just like this Sponsor shade, but this does feel a lot more silky, a lot more like a shimmer metallic than a glitter. So I'm going to put that just directly on the lid. Oh my goodness, this shade is so beautiful. Just same thing I usually do, just kind of place it where I want it to be. And then I'll go in and blend it out. Wow, yeah, this shade is beautiful. Just gonna go in with that smaller brush that I was using for Edges and just kind of blend out the edges. Yeah, so I'm not getting the same issues that I was having with that Zam color. I think that Zam color is just really more of like a pressed glitter shade, because when I was blending it, it was just kind of like glitter everywhere, versus this shade in Sponsored, which is more of like a shimmer that has more of a solid base, is very nicely and very seamlessly kind of just blending out and fading out, giving a nice like almost ombre effect into the other shadows. I'm just going to take my finger and kind of just like reapply a little bit. just because some of it, as I'm blending, it just is fading a little bit. And then back in to blend. Okay, so on one eye here, we have those pinkier shades with that Zam kind of glitter shade on top. Just a nice pinky smoky eye. And then on the other eye here, we use some more of those warm tone shades, and then we use that Sponsored shimmer shade and kind of blended that out. I am happy with both of the eyes. I think that I like this one more just because that Sponsored shade is just like, oof. It's so good. I bet that if you were to get this wet, if you were wanting to go for like a super cut crease or really metallic, getting this shadow wet, I bet just looks amazing on the eyelid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hop off camera. I'm going to finish on my face. We're going to jump back, do my lower lash line, and then I'm going to give my full thoughts and kind of review on the palette. But so far, I mean, I got two different eyes on, so it looks a little weird, but quality-wise, I'm really impressed. So I will be right back with the rest of my face. Alright, I'm back. I know I said I was going to come on and do my lower lash line, but I lied. I was just so into getting my base on that I kind of just like forgot and finished my whole face. So now I'm going to give you just kind of my overview of the whole palette, how I feel about it. So let's start here with just like the packaging and the component. I think the packaging, it just knocks it out of the park. It is some of the most beautiful packaging I've seen on an eyeshadow palette in a while. Just even this outer box is just so nice, and I just love the hollow. I think it's really beautiful and like somewhat simple. And then the palette here, I love that they didn't go for like the velvet. They stayed with just like a nice smoother fabric. When we open it up here, let me show you. I do think there was a little bit of kickback with the shadows, but I find that with higher pigmented shadows, you are going to have more kickback and they are going to be a little bit more dry. But I will say that all of the shadows blended out really nicely. There was no patchiness. There was a little bit of skipping, but I think that was mainly just my eye versus the shadows. I think the shimmers went on really well. That shade that I used on this eye in Zam, I think that is more of like a pressed glitter shade versus like a shimmery metallic. God, I keep scratching myself right here and now it's like all red. So I do think that shade is really pretty. It just didn't blend the way that I thought it was going to blend because it was a little bit more glittery. But overall, I think the palette is beautiful. I think the shades are beautiful. I think for me, the star of the show and my favorite shade is this one right here in Sponsored. This shade is just so beautiful. Like I said, that if I were to create a shade, I would create something very similar to that. I just love the way it looks. I love the way it went on my eyes. Do I think it is comparable to some of the other Anastasia palettes? Yes. I think that this goes hand in hand with the Modern Renaissance when it comes to quality, when it comes to the color story. I think that they are both beautiful palettes. I really like this one. I think that you should go out and buy this one if you are interested in it. Even if you're not like a fan of Jackie, the palette, the quality is beautiful. The color story is beautiful. I will also leave Jackie's YouTube and her socials down below in the description box. She actually recently just posted a video of herself getting ready using this palette, and she was talking about just like social norms for women and like pressure to get married early and pressure to do what your parents want for your careers and stuff like that. And that's part of the reason that I really like Jackie and her channel, is because I feel like, yeah, she's fun and she jokes around and she's a good time, but she also will take the time to kind of talk about more important issues and kind of just, you know, put her opinion out there. And it's nice to have someone else say, like, it's nice to hear multiple sides of life and multiple sides of what people think, because I think it really opens you up and broadens the way you think and the way you feel about things. And I really appreciate that she goes out there and she puts out her opinion and she puts out just her thoughts on things in the world. I think that's really important, especially if you are a person of influence, you know. So go ahead and get this. Honestly, order it from the Anastasia Beverly Hills website, because the shipping, I've never ordered anything directly from their website. I usually go through Ulta or Sephora, but their website had amazing customer service and shipping. Like, they were texting me from the moment I ordered it, like, oh, we received your order. Oh, your order's being prepared. Oh, your order shipped. Oh, right after, like literally right after it got dropped off at my door, I got a text saying your order was just delivered. So I find that really awesome. I think that's really helpful, especially if you're like not home and you want to like keep track of your package. The fact that they kind of give you updates via text message was really awesome. And that's it. I loved the palette. Let me know how you feel about how I review the eyeshadow palettes. I really like doing one look on one eye and one look on the other eye because I think it's fun, and also I think it's just a nice way to be able to give a more rounded review, to be able to go over more of the colors and test more things out in the palette. I'm happy with it. I think it's fun. Thank you so much for sticking around in this video. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social media platforms. On Instagram, it's at Natasha Josette Beauty. On Twitter, it's at Natasha Josette. I post here on YouTube every Tuesday, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!